We're very delighted you've joined us here this morning and in this virtual manner. Thank you so much. We have an exciting program for you today. I'd like to tell you a little bit how we have gotten here. In 2018, the foundation launched a $3.5 million campaign to build a new Children's Heart Center. This was needed because while it was originally built to see 1,500 kids each year, the PEDS cardiology team now sees about 6,000 kids annually. We have been incredibly fortunate from the beginning that major donors have kickstarted our campaign, like the Cancilla family and the Johnson Group, among many others, which elevated the public conversation and shone a light on this need early on. And then more angels arrived to help us build this new cardiac center. Barb and Gerry Price were introduced to our foundation and contributed an incredible, generous $2.5 million gift, and then leading and spearheading their community of donors to this cause. And also being the compassionate voice for injured and sick kids in our province. Thanks to their gift and those from the donors or early campaign supporters, the new Heart Center is now under construction and on track to open this spring in 2021. The Prices have believed so passionately in this cause that they have committed to help us raise even more money. Following discussions with the Health Science Center leadership and the Child Health Program team, the campaign scope grew from 3.5 to 7.5 million, and then to 10.9 million in 2019 to address even more needs related to the kids with complex heart conditions. This enabled the construction of a brand new cardiac cath lab, which opened in February of this year. This lab means 60 to 70 kids and their families will no longer have to travel to other provinces, other hospitals for treatment each year. This brings a peace of mind to families and kids like Carson, who you'll meet shortly. These additional funds also means that a new fluoroscopy lab is under construction right now as we speak. This advanced medical imaging allows veins to be closely monitored for quicker treatment and a much lower radiation doses for these kids. And a machine that's dedicated for kids. This is new, and this is great news for our kids in our province. But we're not finished yet. Earlier this year, to address some ongoing and urgent and emerging needs of the hospital, that campaign goal was raised to $14.7 million to expand the capacity to monitor kids who need constant surveillance in the Children's Hospital. This is a pilot project introducing new technology, exciting processes to our kids' hospital to improve care and to improve better outcomes. This much needed equipment helps the care team closely monitor and watch vital signs such as temperature, blood pressure, heart rate, rhythm, oxygen, and breathing. You will hear soon from Dr. Patricia Birk, the head of our Pediatric Child Health Department, about why this equipment is so important. She calls this equipment a game changer, especially as a pandemic continues and we continue to approach the flu season, which more sick kids are getting admitted to the hospital every day. Before we hear from Dr. Birk, I want to share how grateful that we are for your support, for people like you across the province who have embraced this campaign and who have so generously responded to the hospital's needs. While Dr. Birk isn't able to be with us live today, she has prepared some remarks we'd like to share with you right now. So here's Dr. Birk.
I'd like to begin by thanking our generous donors. I want to express my profound appreciation in this tremendously difficult time. It warms our heart. It gives us inspiration to continue to do the great work we are doing in Children's Hospital. Now, what is the remote monitoring system? It's really a sophisticated set of vital sign machines, and it's built into a singular capacity that allows us to monitor the kids' heart rate, their heart tracings, their respiratory rate, and their oxygen levels. The key thing about this is it can be done in the patient's rooms. So that is the remote capacity. And for obvious reasons, it is much more family suited, much more patient friendly, and it really puts children in the right place. I should say that not all children who come into hospital actually need to go to the intensive care unit. But if they have reasons for monitoring, then of course they would have to go into one of those 3 rooms. So that puts additional pressure on our intensive care or the existing monitoring rooms. So this allows our patients to be monitored in a patient-friendly environment, in a family-friendly environment. And it also precludes having to move children in the middle of the night because of bed pressures. So it's highly valuable. It is really on the forefront of technology, and it's providing state-of-the-art care for our patients. And I would equate it with some of the images you might see from NASA, you know, on obviously a smaller scale, where you would have nurses being able to view children's vital signs on monitors and give us the capacity to alert more specialized staff, such as physicians, so that they can intervene early. We're so enthusiastic about it. We recognize all of the implications it will have to improve healthcare delivery, to improve patient flow. It has been used in some capacity in the women's hospital in our neonatal intensive care unit. People truly appreciate its capacity and its ability to deliver excellent patient care. Our patient census is actually lower now because of the COVID pandemic, and fortunately, most children have not been heavily affected by COVID, but certainly there are times in the winter months and as well as the spring, where there are other seasonal illnesses like influenza A and B or RSV. And remote monitoring is critical to following these children in hospital, especially the little babies who need close follow-up of their respiratory rate and their heart rate. So it is really an invaluable tool, especially during flu season. You know, really in summary, this is about delivering the best care in the right place for all our patients. We recognize that hospitalizations for children and their families are a stressful experience, particularly now during the COVID pandemic. And we want to make that experience for our children as seamless as possible and as patient-friendly as possible.
Thank you for those words, Dr. Birk. Now I'd like to introduce you to Carson Burr, 15-year-old Carson Burr, and his mom, Richele. I won't tell you Richele's age, who've joined us from Rapid City this morning. So Carson and Richele, over to you.
My name is Carson, and I'm just glad you all could make it here today. So when I was born, I had a congenital heart defect called transposition of the great arteries, which means my aorta and pulmonary artery were reversed. So I spent 2 months in the hospital, and I had 2 surgeries, one in Winnipeg and one in Edmonton. And so today I'm doing fine, and thank goodness to the Children's Hospital, and I'm just glad that all the equipment, and so grateful for everything that it saved my life. And yeah.
Yeah, we are just very fortunate, and we'd like to thank all the donors that have made this possible to improve our Children's Heart Center. We've gone there since Carson was a baby, so we understand that the improvements that have been needed and the space, because it is small, and the amount of people that attend. And wow, we just can't wait to actually be able to see the new concept that's been built. And Carson actually will get a couple of years probably going there, and he will require probably a procedure, as now that he's older, they need to check some parts of his heart that can't be seen on an ultrasound. So he probably will have that in the next year or two. And because all of you donors took the time to, care about our kids, it's made this possible. And, there's really nothing we can honestly say to you to thank you for all that you've done, because without Children's, we wouldn't have this guy. So yeah, so sorry, I get a little emotional, but even after 15 years, some days it strikes home that how lucky we actually are to have him. And yeah, and we're so grateful to you guys. So we really want to thank you.
Thank you so much to both of you for joining us. Now, Carson, I understand that you have an active life. Can you tell us a little bit about some of your hobbies and what you're doing as a young and active man in Rapid City and Brandon?
Yeah, for sure. I've been dancing since I was 2.5 years old, actually. So I dance at Step in Time Dance Studio. And yeah, and I also play baseball, just like house league baseball, just right now. And our season got cut short because of COVID. But I mean, it was still fun to get out there, and it was nice to have something to do in the summer. And I also act a lot in like theater and do plays. And the last play I did was Rent in Brandon, and me and my brother got to do a good play, and it was fun. And yeah.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing that with us and for joining us this morning. Now I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Gerry Price, the chair of the cardiac campaign. So Mr. Price, Gerry, over to you.
Thank you, Catherine. Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be here today to speak to where we are in the campaign and to add my thank you to Stefano's and to Richele's and Carson's for the phenomenal donations and generosity of literally hundreds and hundreds of friends and people who recognize the need. You know, I got the call 2.5 years ago out of the blue. And literally same day, Barb and I came in with our donation. And then a month later, we learned that the need was greater, so we upped it. And since then, we've been on this journey of discovery on how big the gap was to bring our Children's Cardiac Center up to a world-class standard. And what started as a smaller campaign around the $3.5 million level now is at 14.7 million. Rightfully so, because every element that we added was essential and is essential to save lives. And this is what this is about. It's about saving lives. And what I've learned in the process is how widespread cardiac risks are for children, and particularly under age 2. Which it seems like about half the patient load is under the age of 2, which is remarkable. And what I also realized is with modern equipment, you could save children that you couldn't save 10 or 15 years ago or 20 years ago. And we did not have modern equipment. We had antiquated stuff going back 30 years or more in a facility that was 50 years old. And the patient load back then was a good number, 1,500 or so visits a year, but now we're over 6,000 and climbing. So are we going to save the children or not is the question. Governments are broke, they don't have the money. Fair ball, that's the reality of the world. We could stand back and say that's the government's responsibility, but I don't buy that one bit. Barb and I are happy to be part of this campaign, and we're just so thankful and appreciative of literally hundreds and hundreds of people who have rallied behind this need for children. You know, children don't have a voice in life. It's up to their parents and adults to recognize the need, especially thinking that over half are under age 2. They can't even speak yet. You know, if we don't see the need and rally to it, who will, is the way I see it. So as far as I'm concerned, we have to pull this campaign off. We have to finish it. We have to take it right to the top and give our children every possible chance to live and to save families from the ultimate tragedy of losing a child. And we don't want that to happen anymore in this province. For any children that we could possibly save, if we just have the right equipment, if we just have the central monitoring for the beds, without which you can't get the crisis team to the bedside quickly enough to save the life. So with central monitoring, every child who's at risk will have a shot at having the crisis team there in seconds to save them. So that last 4 million or so that added on was essential in order to save more children. So I can't tell you how thankful I am that so many friends and families and people I didn't know and people that I did know have rallied to the cause. I'm really thankful Stefano well, it wasn't Stefano who called me, but I met him right away afterwards. But I'm so thankful someone reached out to Barb and me so that we could add our voice to the Children's Hospital Foundation's voice to save lives of these precious, precious children in our city and in our province. So from me, from Barb and I, a huge thank you to all the donors who have stepped up. If any donors on the line are inclined as we approach Christmas to make another Christmas present gift to the campaign, please do. We need it. We want to finish this off. We want to close the gap and make that facility a reality. We're very close. We're in the last 10%. Every dollar counts now. And anybody who's on the line that has some capacity, please call me directly. And I'll be happy to explain in more detail or meet with you or do whatever. So again, thank you all for donating and supporting this very worthy cause. Carson, I can't tell you how happy I am to see how well you're doing in your life. I celebrate that. I think that's just tremendous. You're a teenager living the dream, and hallelujah. Richele, how happy you are to have your son and to enjoy, to witness his teenage excitement of everything's new and everything's great. How good is that? I'm so happy for your family. I'm happy for all the Heart Children families that can celebrate life and enjoy the ultimate gift is the gift of a child to a family and to a parent and vice versa. And I'm so happy that many, many more children will survive and live and prosper because of this campaign. So Stefano, thank you for all the work you've done. And to Courtney and Pranka and everybody in the foundation, thank you for all the hard work you've done. And Barb and I are going to keep at it until we get blow past that finish line. So thank you.
Thank you, Gerry, and thank you to Barb. Thank you also, Richele and Carson, for joining us. I'm going to turn it over to Stefano for some closing remarks.
Thank you, Gerry. Thank you, Richele. Thank you, Carson. Thank you for being here today and giving your time and shedding even more light on this cause. Your voices are resonating throughout the community, and and Gerry, you'll be very pleased to know that Carson is also a philanthropist. Over the years, Carson has raised a considerable amount of money for cardiac, and Carson, so we thank you for continually supporting our foundation and our hospital in every which way. You and your family are so important to us, so thank you. The last stretch of any campaign is the toughest to raise, but I have to tell you, this month has been just an incredible experience, a humbling experience for myself and my team, with the number of people rallying to the cause and trying to get us to the finish line. Some serious donors have further inspired us by inspiring other donors, saying they will match every gift made until December 31st. So we're so thankful, despite the situation that we're in with COVID today, that people continue to support this cause. We were able to raise enough money through our Galactic experience just a few weeks ago in November, and Giving Tuesday as well, to fully fund 7 monitored beds. Over 600 donors gave anything from $10 to more to help us get to this finish line. So thank you so much. If you're able to, and we encourage you to take advantage of this matching gift to make your donation go twice as far and get us to this end line twice as quick. We also would like to encourage you to tune into 92 City and KISS 102 to listen to Dr. Goodbear's Hope for the Holiday Give-a-thon, which is also raising funds for remote monitored beds throughout December. Visit goodbear.ca to make your gift today. Again, just thank you so much from the bottom of our heart. On behalf of all of us at the foundation, my staff, my boards, the hospital leadership, the kids, the families, all of us, we just thank you so much. And we want to wish you all the best for a safe and happy holiday season. Thank you again.